Zach Glass here with video journal number 1 for BPT 111 about the Shouting Fire video by HBO. Gonna try to fit all this in 2 minutes, so I'm gonna go quick. The cases discussed were Ward Churchill versus UC Boulder, Almantaser versus New York City, the 2 Shank cases in the early 1900s around World War One. I think the ACLU versus Skokie, Illinois was the name of that case. Harper versus Poway High School, and the New York Times versus the United States of America. As far as the Ward Churchill situation, what I learned is intellectuals and scholars can be punished for asking the wrong questions, which was a bad precedent to set. 60,000 some odd professors were put on what I would call a gray list, which was alarming that was happening in the early 2000s. So that surprised me. I did not know anything about Ward Churchill, so I learned that was all new to me there, and kind of scary. As far as the Almantaser situation in New York City, apparently coordinated media character assassination is apparently legal. I guess that's where we get into the ethical thing. Something that is legal isn't necessarily ethical, and that's still happening to this day, maybe some might say, national scale right now, depending on what side you're on. So it's apparently legal, and it's apparently extremely coordinated in some cases. That was kind of surprising. Probably knew deep down what was going on, but still kind of surprising. The Shank cases, the Supreme Court has not really set an early precedent for protecting free speech. They did not side with free speech in those cases around World War One, so he was convicted on both of those. They upheld both of those convictions. The ACLU versus Skokie, Illinois, basically what the main protagonist, I guess you would say, of the video, he was in the video the most. What he pretty much said was the right to free speech should be defended universally, no matter who it is or what they're saying. Even if it's your enemy, you should defend their right. Otherwise, you could lose yours down the road. You're just opening a door. You're opening Pandora's box, and it'll come for everybody, good and bad, depending on what you think is good and bad. As far as the Harper versus Poway High School, schools are not a safe place for free speech, apparently, and that's happening all over college campuses right now too. So that precedent was set then, and it's still coming through today on college campuses and high school campuses. There's no free speech there as far as your protection goes. The New York Times versus the U.S. Was a huge First Amendment victory. I remember learning about the Pentagon Papers, but I didn't realize how big of a deal that was as far as First Amendment rights go. The New York City protesters, I was about 14 when that happened. Lived in a very Republican household, so either what I saw or what I was told was, I didn't really realize how big of a deal that was. That those 1,800 protesters getting arrested was a pretty big deal. And I think we've come a long way since then. Obviously, the protesters we've been watching recently have pretty much been allowed to do what they want, as long as they don't incite violence, or even then they've been kind of given free rein in some cases. So maybe we went too far the other way with that, some might say. But the overarching theme that I circled down on my notes in the middle of the video was that McCarthyism is alive and well in America, whether we want to admit it or not. It's just constantly evolving and changing year by year. The left and right both have been guilty of participating in it as this nation's continued to grow. So I thought that was surprising to really make that connection in my head. So that's kind of what the impression the video left on me. A few surprises, learned some things that definitely influenced how I feel about free speech, and I definitely agree with what the fellow that fought for the Nazi rights in Skokie was saying, is you don't have to agree with what they're saying to admit that they have the right to say it and fight for their right to say it. So I'm going to cut the video off there, and I'll see you in class. Thank you.